January 29th, 1945. Holtzheim, Belgium. 2:45 p.m. First Sergeant Leonard Funk rounds the corner of a farmhouse and freezes. 90 German soldiers are staring right at him. Half are armed, half are picking up rifles from a pile on the ground. 4 American soldiers kneel in the snow with their hands behind their heads, Funk's own men. 20 minutes ago, these Germans were prisoners, guarded by just 4 men. Now they're free. Now they're armed, organizing to attack Company C from the rear. A German officer strides forward, shoves an MP40 into Funk's stomach, screams in German. Funk doesn't understand a word. The officer screams again, face purple with rage. Funk looks at the 90 Germans, looks at his 4 disarmed men, looks at the gun in his gut, and he starts laughing. What happens next takes less than 60 seconds. 21 Germans die, the rest surrender, and Leonard Funk earns the Medal of Honor, all because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was born in 1916 in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania, a steel town outside Pittsburgh. By 1934, the Great Depression had crushed his family. Jobs were gone, college was impossible. June 1941, the draft catches up with him. 24 years old, 5 feet 5, 120 pounds. Jumping out of perfectly good aircraft to fight surrounded behind enemy lines, it sounds like suicide, but Funk has something to prove. Airborne training breaks half the men. 5 weeks of running, jumping, falling, then the jump towers, then the C-47 at 1,200 feet. The wind tears at your face. Your parachute is just fabric, cord, and faith. Funk earns his wings, joins Company C, 5th Parachute Infantry Regiment, ships to England, joins the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-Americans. By D-Day, he's a squad leader. By 1945, he'll be acting executive officer. First, he has to survive Normandy. June 6, 1944, 1:30 a.m. Funk stands in a C-47, 60 pounds of gear strapped on, flak exploding around them. The aircraft drops to 400 feet too low for a safe jump. German fire is everywhere. The green light comes on. Funk jumps. The D-Day airborne operation is chaos. Paratroopers scattered across 50 miles of French countryside. Some drown in flooded fields. Others land in German camps and die before cutting free. Funk lands hard, badly sprains his ankle, maybe fractured. Every step will be agony, but he can walk, he can fight. He's 40 miles from his drop zone. 40 miles of German-held territory, alone. Within hours, he collects 18 lost paratroopers, men from different units, all looking for leadership. For 10 days, Funk leads them through enemy territory, traveling at night, hiding by day, fighting when they have to. They link up with Allied forces. Every single man survives, not one casualty. 10 days behind enemy lines, 40 miles. And Leonard Funk brings them all home. Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart. Funk is just getting started. December 16th, 1944. The Germans launched their last offensive. 400,000 men, 400 tanks, crashing through the Ardennes. The Battle of the Bulge, the largest battle the American Army fights in World War II, December 17th. One day in, a convoy of 1113 American artillery observers runs into an SS battle group. They surrender. They're herded into a field. Then the SS opens fire. 84 Americans die in the snow. The news spreads. American soldiers swear, never surrender to the SS. When Funk hears about Malmedy, something hardens inside. Cold-blooded execution of men who'd surrendered in good faith. Leonard Funk decides he will never surrender to the Germans, no matter what. January 29, 1945. The Ardennes offensive is broken. Company C gets orders to capture Holtzheim. Problem, they're under strength. The executive officer is dead. Funk is now acting executive officer. He walks to company headquarters. Inside, clerks, supply personnel, cooks, men who've never seen combat. You're all infantry now, he tells them. Grab your weapons. 30 men who spent the war behind desks. Funk turns them into soldiers, 15 miles through waist-deep snow in a blizzard. Funk leads from the front. They reach Holtzheim, clear 15 houses, capture 80 prisoners, not one American casualty. 20 men in white camouflage. They overwhelm the guards, free the prisoners. 90 armed Germans now, organizing to attack Company C from the rear. That's when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. 4 guards on their knees, 90 armed Germans organizing for attack. The German officer spots Funk immediately. First Sergeant stripes mark him as a leader. The officer strides forward, shoves an MP40 into Funk's stomach, screams in German. Funk doesn't understand a word. The officer screams louder. Funk looks around. 90 Germans, half-armed. His 4 men disarmed, 1 other American. Mathematics of survival, 0. Outnumbered 90-1. The sensible thing, surrender. But Funk remembers Malmedy, 84 Americans murdered in a field. So instead of complying, Leonard Funk does something inexplicable. He starts laughing. The German officer is thrown off. Prisoners don't laugh. They beg, they plead, they comply. For a few critical seconds, nobody knows what to do. Funk uses those seconds. Still laughing, he slowly reaches for his Thompson submachine gun. The German relaxes, the American is surrendering. Then Funk moves, one motion, faster than thought. Swings the Thompson down, squeezes the trigger. 30 rounds in less than 3 seconds. The German officer is dead before he hits the ground. Funk pivots, still firing. The Thompson sprays lead across the nearest Germans. Men scream, men fall. Blood sprays across the snow. Magazine runs dry. 2 seconds to reload. 2 seconds is forever. Funk reloads in less than a heartbeat. Muscle memory. Thousands of hours of training compressed into one motion. Pick up their weapons, he screams at his guards. 4 men who were prisoners seconds ago now grab rifles and fight. 60 seconds. 21 Germans dead, 24 wounded. The rest throw down their weapons. Leonard Funk stands in the carnage, smoke rising from his Thompson. That, he says quietly, was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. September 5th, 1945. The White House. President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. I would rather have this medal, Truman says, than be President of the United States. Let's count what Funk earned. Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star, 3 Purple Hearts, Croix de Guerre, Order of Leopold, Military Order of William, the most decorated paratrooper of World War II, 5 feet 5, 40 pounds, a former store clerk who became a legend. The war ends. Funk goes home, doesn't write books, doesn't do speaking tours, doesn't cash in on his fame. He gets a job at the Veterans Administration, helps other veterans navigate paperwork, process disability claims, cut through red tape, 27 years at a desk, division chief of the Pittsburgh office. Never talks about Holtzheim. When people ask about the laughing, about the 90 Germans, he shrugs. Did what I had to do. That's all he ever says. Here's what Leonard Funk teaches us. War doesn't favor the big, doesn't favor the strong, doesn't favor the reckless or the fearless. War favors the ones who keep thinking when everyone else has stopped. At Holtzheim, Funk had every reason to surrender. 90-1, a gun in his stomach, any rational person would have given up. But Funk wasn't thinking about the math. He was thinking about Malmedy, about his men, about what happens if these Germans escape. And while the German officer was confused, Funk made his move. 60 seconds later, he was alive when he should have been dead. President Truman looked at this 5'5" former store clerk and said, I'd rather be you, because courage isn't about size or strength or training. Courage is what you do when there's a gun in your stomach, and 90 men want you dead.